as you can see from this figure, the international trade has been taking place across the world since times immemorial, across the Silk Route through which the trade was happening across the world. One important fact about globalization is that Western Europe, United States, and Japan, they collectively produce more than 3 times as much in foreign market as they export, and about one-third of their export and import are transacted within the company. That is, exports and imports happening from the parents to the subsidiary, between the subsidiaries, and between subsidiary to the parent. So basically, this international trade, in its current form is within the company. Now, this figure shows how the world exports of manufactured goods increased from $8 trillion in 2006 to $11 trillion in 2016. And this graph, this portion, the yellow portion, shows the exports in agriculture, international trade in agriculture products. In this green, it is the fuel and mining products, and blue one shows the manufactured products. So in manufactured products, the international trade is the biggest. But also keep in mind that in agricultural products, it is also quite a large amount of trade that is happening. This figure shows world exports of commercial services that totaled $4.8 trillion in 2016, up from $2.9 trillion in 2006. So this part, it shows commercial services. This yellow part shows trade in travel, and this is transport. This is small components related to goods-related services. So the total contribution of goods-related services is small, while in commercial services it is huge. Now, there is a fundamental shift that is occurring in the world economy. We are moving towards an economy that is free of barriers to cross-border trade. The perceived distances between countries is decreasing. Material culture is looking similar across the world, and therefore national economies, they are merging into an interdependent, integrated global economic system. Now, this globalization has two facets. One is globalization of markets, and another is globalization of production. So, let us say that this globalization of market means globalization of demand, and globalization of production means globalization of supply. So the two important facets of this globalization is globalization of demand. Demand can come from anywhere across the world, and globalization of supply, that is, the goods and services can be produced and supplied from anywhere in the world. You see, most of us, we use Citibank Group's credit card. People across the world, even in rural India, drink Coca-Cola. Then we have Sony PlayStations, and we all have been to Starbucks coffee at some point in time. And similarly, globalization of production is happening. So now Boeing 777, it gets its supplies from Japan, Singapore, Italy. Thus, 30% of Boeing's 777 by value is built by foreign companies. Even the mobile phone that we have has components that are built across the world. Let us look at the definition of globalization as given by International Monetary Fund. The growing economic interdependence of countries worldwide through increasing volume and variety of cross-border transactions. Keep in mind that we are talking of increasing volume, one, and variety of cross-border trade, cross-border transactions in goods and services, and of international capital flows. So volume and variety of goods and services is huge, and then also international capital flows and also through more rapid and widespread diffusion of technology. Goods and services are being traded, capital is being traded, and technology is being traded. Now, there are several benefits of this globalization, and we will talk about each one of them in detail. So, the first benefit is cost reduction. Let us see how globalization reduced to cost reduction. Because a company produces huge amount of products that are to be sold across the world, which leads to economies of scales and therefore reduces per unit cost of production. Enhanced customer preferences. Product variety for consumers have increased due to globalization. Because of globalization of demand, we have seen the globalization of markets. We have seen that a person now has a variety of choices from which to choose. And the internet has opened new opportunities, and you can browse from your home, office, and train. So that leads to enhanced consumer preferences. Because of competition, the product quality has improved, and also the quality of marketing programs have improved. So you see that a consumer has the liberty of choosing whichever product he or she thinks best suited for his or her needs. This allows a person in America to wear clothes made in India and Mexico while watching a football match taking place in England on a television made in China. And then it leads to increased competitive advantage on the global basis because the cost has reduced. Because of globalization, consumers' preferences have enhanced, and the quality of products have all gone up. Though that leads to increased competitive advantage on a global basis. Briefly, I will tell what competitive advantage is. The competitive advantage is the advantage that a company has, which competitors do not. So, because of these three things, it leads to competitive advantage on a global basis. Now let us see why global marketing is imperative. Imperative means important. So why let us see why global marketing is imperative. It is because of the following 6 reasons, and we will talk about each of these 6 reasons. The first reason is saturation of domestic markets. The second is unfavorable domestic economy. The third is emerging markets, global competition, need for global cooperation, and the last one is internet revolution. So let us see the first reason, saturation of domestic markets. Now you see that most developed markets, developed economies, they are saturated because people have bought so many products that the demand for several products is no longer there. So domestic market saturation in industrial parts of the world and marketing opportunities overseas are evident in global markets. So Samsung and Hyundai, now you see that Samsung and Hyundai, they come from Korea. Cemex from Mexico, Domes Coffee from Australia are competing head-on for global dominance. So these small companies, these fairly new companies, Samsung and Hyundai, they are competing with well-established players from developed countries. Unfavorable domestic economies. The idea here is that even if one economy is facing downturn, is in recession, some other country somewhere in the world, it generally so happens that it is facing expansion. So if you are a global player, then even if you are facing a downturn in one economy, then also even in that situation, there will be a country somewhere in the world that is expanding. So now you may be incurring losses at one place, but then at the same time you may earn profit at some other place. Then there is a huge market that is coming up, which comprises of several countries which are coupled together and called as emerging markets. That includes Chinese economic area, that is China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. India, South Korea, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Poland, Turkey. And it also includes certain association of Southeast Asian nations, that is called as ASEAN, that includes Indonesia, Brunei, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Vietnam. So these countries, they are emerging. Emerging markets for your general understanding is that now their gross domestic product, etc., they are increasing. Now they have more purchasing power. So that is why they are called as emerging. This is one reason why they are called as emerging markets. So this emerging market, there is a lot of potential, great, huge market. So that is another reason why global marketing has become imperative. But at the same time, global competition around the world is increasing. Now you see, you look at this example, about 30 years ago, the world's greatest automobile manufacturers were General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. Today, Toyota, Honda, BMW, Renault, and Hyundai, among others, stand out as competitive nameplates in the global automobile markets. Now, because of this global competition, it is giving rise to another force that is called as global cooperation. Japan's Sony, Toshiba, and US computer maker IBM jointly developing advanced semiconductor processing technologies for next generation chip. Also keep in mind that your many components of your Apple iPhone, they come from Samsung. So although on the face of it, Apple and Samsung, they are competitors, but on the other hand, they are also cooperating. Similarly, Maruti Suzuki will be using production facilities from Toyota, because Maruti Suzuki is facing a shortfall in production capacity, while Toyota in India, they have excessive production capacity. So now they have joined hand so Maruti will be using Toyota's facilities to manufacture their cars. And the last reason is internet revolution. Now, this internet revolution is bringing major structural change to the ways companies operate worldwide. Look at Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, and Flipkart. So, to conclude, global epitomizes both the competitive pressure and expanding market opportunities. Two opposing forces are taking place at the same time. One is competitive pressure, more and more competition coming from anywhere in the world, and at the same time expanding market opportunities. So whether a company operates domestically or across national borders, it will still face competition from across the world. And even domestic competition will continue to increase. So this is the main focus of this term, global. Now this globalization of markets is leading to convergence and divergence at the same time. Let us look how it is happening. Per capita income is an important determinant of consumer buying behavior. This is a well understood fact. Now the studies suggest that when a country's per capita income is less than $10,000, most of this income is spent on satisfying the basic needs. As the country's per capita income increases and becomes equal to or more than $20,000, the disposable income increases drastically. Now this increased disposable income, how people spend this increased disposable income, this increases convergent pressures on consumer buying behavior. That is, people with higher income tend to enjoy similar education levels. They want to have similar material positions. They spend their leisure time similarly and their aspirations for the future. For example, we see young people jogging in Nike shoes, an American product which is made in China, listening to Coldplay, British rock band, on Apple Computer's iPod, an American product, in Hong Kong, Philadelphia, Sydney, and Tokyo. So you see that one person, a young man jogging in Nike shoes, and he is owning products, he is using products that are made across the world. Another dimension of this globalization of markets is divergence. It means that globalization do not suffocate local cultures. It does not mean that the culture across the world, across different countries, will look same. No, it rather liberates them from ideological conformity of nationalism, with consumer becoming more receptive to new things. Now consumer have wider, more divergent choice sets of goods and services to choose from. So keep in mind that we are talking of the total set to consideration set, sorry, awareness set to consideration set and to choice set. And then the decision is taken. Now this divergence means that this choice set, the number of brands in this choice set has increased. Now keep in mind that if you want to buy a pair of shoes, so you will have 10 different brands or 20 different brands to choose from. For example, Polo Campero, that is a Latin American fried chicken from Guatemala, offering chicken with a Latin service in a Latin American environment, has been catching on quietly in the US to cater to Americans' increased appetite for a different kind of chicken. So, although the basic need or the need that is being satisfied is hunger, but then the requirement or the need or the want to eat chicken, but then there are a variety of chickens that from which the consumer can choose from.